Don't come at me and ask me if I have my ducks in a row. I've cross-checked, triple cross-checked. I have files, I have invoices, I have my own system that works, and I'm not the one.
It'll be a cold day in Miami when you don't have your records right.
Welcome back to another episode of the What Am I Thankful For podcast. I'm Des, and this is my husband, Joe, and we're happy to be back with you today. So there has been something that's been kind of lingering and weighing on me over the last couple of weeks, maybe month. It's just this undeniable feeling that I haven't been my true authentic self since we've returned into season 2.
No, I feel it too.
Yeah. When we started with season 1, I feel like we had gold. I feel like it was magic, and I feel like, what was it, 8 episodes that we dropped then?
Yeah, something like that.
We recorded, I think, 8 episodes. I don't know if we dropped them all, but I felt like we had gold, and I think the video is messing me up.
I think so too. The video is definitely distracting, but also in that season it just kind of flowed because we were telling stories, we were telling lived experience. We wanted to share with people the early stages of Maddux's life and potential difficulties they might face if they went down that same road. And so it was just a little easier to be more authentic and relatable and just tell our story. And I think our first couple episodes this season feels a little bit more forced for us because we're like, oh my God, we're on camera.
Do I look good? Hair okay? Do I have a gray hair just hanging out like wiry like this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel there's this pressure of having a visual now. I want to come in on this episode and just treat this as a conversation. We're here on date night and we're just sharing our lived experiences and our journey. So that's where we're going from now on. I think you always look amazing, sound natural, but I feel like I've been the one that's been like holding back. So no more of that. True authentic selves, and here we are.
I feel myself holding back because I'm like, do I really want to say that? Is it pertinent to the conversation? Is it interesting? And it's just like, fuck it. Let's just say what's on our mind.
Yes.
Let's say how we feel.
Yeah.
It's much easier to do that, and let's just share our thoughts. And if people don't like it, then they just won't listen.
Yes, you're going to hear an F-bomb slip here and there. I cuss like a sailor, and I don't know that I'm proud of that, but it is who I am, and that is what it is. And moving forward, we're going to depict our true authenticity.
Yep, and we got some stories to catch people up on, and I like how you set it up. Like, this is the last time we're going to talk about this.
Done. After this episode, we're turning the page. It's a new chapter. It's a new season, and we're going to be done with it.
We want to update everyone on our homeschool situation because that we will continue to talk about because we're brand new at this. And
well, we haven't officially announced that we are homeschooling Maddux.
Oh, by the time this podcast drops, we will have.
On social media and on a few of our platforms, it will already have been out there, but we want to set the record straight. We have officially pulled Maddux from his local school district. We touched on a little bit about what we have been going through with them over the last, I'd say the second semester of last school year. Up until that point, the last 5 years were wonderful, and we're super grateful for the experiences that Maddux was able to have those last 5 years with his educators and with his IEP team and with certain leadership folks at the same time.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways it feels to me like, man, we finally got it right. After years and years of advocating and pushing and trying to find the right team members for him, everything kind of came together this last, I would say, 18 months, and then it quickly fell apart. Just as quick as it was going the right direction, 3-4 months and it's all gone, and we have no choice but to pull him out and put him in homeschool. And that's the frustrating thing. Like, we had it all figured out as a family, as him as a student, the district, everyone was going in the right direction, and then they just crumbled like a house of cards.
We had a well-oiled machine, and it was running on all cylinders. For the most part, things weren't broken, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and decides to reinvent the wheel. And Maddux was the one that had to be sacrificed in the cuts and their decisions.
Yeah, and we tried to warn them that was going to happen. Either they didn't care about the outcome of losing a student like Maddux at the peak of his academic career, or They just looked at the spreadsheet math and said, it doesn't matter, we got to make a cut. And so we're just going to make the cut and we're going to deal with the consequences.
Well, do you want to know my take on it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I truly believe that there are a select handful of district leadership that didn't even know that Maddux was involved in this. I don't think they even knew that Maddux or his support was lumped up in this budget cut.
What do you mean by district leadership? People that we emailed saying that this would affect Maddux? You mean those people, or you mean people that weren't involved in those emails?
I think there are a handful of other people that have influence that were not on those emails. And maybe I'm naive and maybe I'm living in an alternate universe. I don't know. But I believe that the email came in. They probably thought, oh God, here's another email from Mrs. Remele talking about somebody illegally parked in the handicap spot. Honestly, I think that's probably what the case was. And they didn't read it. I think they're inundated with emails from people.
They have email fatigue.
Yeah.
Look, I get a lot of emails too. I have to read all my emails and respond to them. So
no, and I'm not making excuses at all for it. Yeah. I just believe in the early phases of our outreach that it just missed them. And I think by the time we started barking louder, I think it was too late. Listen, I think that even at that point that the superintendent, the director of special services, I think any one of those positions should have been able to go back and say, this was not a right cut here. Yeah. And you need to go back and figure out how to make this right, because this is not a situation where this should ever happen. And whether it was with my son or whether it was with somebody else.
I don't think they saw the risk. I don't think they saw that pulling his support that's been working for 5 years since he fell down a flight of stairs on their watch would change anything, that we would just show up anyway.
Yeah, and that was obvious in I can't even count the attempts that we had with the district on this. And we either didn't hear back for months or something was going on behind the scenes and some higher power put their foot down and was like, no, this is what it is and we're not budging on this.
Yeah.
And I think that higher power turned out to be human resources.
HR, yeah, for sure.
And sadly, it's the people that are so furthest removed from the situation that ultimately has the deciding factor here. And it pisses me off because we know that these are people who have been around in the district for 30 plus years, probably hasn't evolved their position in just as long. And they're the ones that get the power here in these positions.
Never step foot in a classroom.
Never
seen our kids or the teachers or paras or whoever is dealing with the kids, just making decisions from on high.
Yeah.
This is the vibe I get. They're just chest out. We got to make these cuts. We're going to do it our way. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear input from anybody. And meanwhile, as parents, we're like, we live with these kids. We've gotten these kids to the point where they're at in their life. Like, yes. We're a part of the IEP team as well. Mm-hmm. We deserve input here.
Yeah.
And like I said, the vibe is they're like, nope, the decision's made. And you don't get to call a meeting. You don't get to meet the new person. You have no idea when you show up at the first day of school who's going to be with your son. Just, you should trust us.
You have these people with fat egos sitting behind a computer barking these orders because they've been there long enough and nobody's stopping them. There's no accountability for people like that. They get to make these very crucial decisions that impact kids like Maddux and not even bat an eye about it because nobody's stopping them. And since then, how many cases have we heard of where it was like, oh yeah, the answer is no. Oh, but because we know so-and-so and because little Susie's aunt and uncle, all of a sudden the union policy's thrown out the door.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard lately from multiple sources that the district is like pissed off at us.
Yeah.
They're mad that we're talking about this right now. We get the right to tell the truth and tell our story. We're not saying anything slanderous. We're not saying anything that's not true.
No.
We're not defaming any of the people involved in this. This is facts.
We have stated the facts from the very beginning. And if they didn't like that we went to the press about this and aired their dirty laundry, then that's a you problem, district. That has nothing to do with us. Get your shit in line then.
Feelings getting hurt should not affect the placement of a special ed kid who's just trying to navigate school safely.
But they stop looking at the student when you have parents like you and I who are vocal and who won't take no for an answer. They just don't know what to do with people like us, and this was their perfect out for our family.
Well, this district saw us at some point as a liability when we should be seen as an asset.
Yeah.
We have provided for this district many things, many pieces of insight, advice.
We've attended so many meetings, the CPAC meetings, the special education PTA, that we're doing their work for them for free.
I was going to say, you've volunteered how many hours of your time to the special education PTA?
So many hours.
And that's all to serve families in the district that have special ed students that are trying to navigate it.
Yeah.
The district isn't providing that service. You have to have a whole other faction that was created to support those people.
Correct. Families like us are assets to this school district.
Yes. People with our experience are assets to public school districts, given they communicate and they keep us informed and involved in the process.
9 times out of 10, it's not going to be what the school district wants to hear.
Yeah. Well, is it true? Does it improve our position? If the answer to that is yes and yes, you should adopt it. If people that have the experience that we do are bringing things to the table that are either true or helps their situation, they should listen.
Or offers another perspective that maybe you may not be aware of.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't get offended. I never get offended if someone tells me something that I do soul searching and I'm like, oh, that's true. It hurt when you said it.
Yeah.
And now I had to take a deep look at myself and reevaluate sometimes my entire life based on whatever the person said. A lot of times it's you. And be like, that's true. So I got to pull myself out of this offended space and start to put this in motion. What am I going to do about it?
Well, that's maturity. And I feel in our experience, people at the leadership level, and I'm not speaking to all of them, but many in the leadership level within our school district do not have that level of maturity to accept constructive criticism from families like ours. So instead, they will look at us in the face and smile at us and say, yes, that's a great idea, and then go right back around and keep doing things the way they've been doing for 100 years. Special needs parenting has especially taught us that you have to put everything in writing and you have to recap everything. This is a district strategy. They will pick up the phone and they will call you so that it's not put in a paper trail. What we are advising anybody to do, not just special needs parents, recap it in writing so that it's there down the road when you need to reference that again. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, we've had to do that.
Use their HR tricks against them, basically, because that's what HR would do. They would be like, oh, thanks for the phone call. Here's what we talked about. And here's in documentation now.
Well, not our district's HR.
No.
So there has been a lot of online chatter in local social media, Facebook groups, and comments on our posts over the last couple of months, and some hearsay that we're hearing in the community about, oh, well, the parents just went straight to the media. You think we just went straight to the media? Okay, that's your take on it. But we started working on this when conversations about these budget cuts began back in February.
Yeah, we actually have a documented timeline from February of all the escalation points we took with the district. We sent an email about it to leadership.
To the board. We followed up with the board and never got acknowledgement of our letter. And followed up with 3, maybe 4 more emails about it. And crickets. Nobody responded to us.
Which all we were asking for was, please give us a plan and a backup plan. You remove this person that we were very comfortable with, that's kept Maddux safe for 5 years. All we were asking for is, we want the plan. Whoever the person is, we want to meet with that person, look them in the eye, tell them the whole story like we said last time. And then we also need a backup plan, because if that person doesn't show up, we've had this happen in the past. What do we do when that happens?
No, and it took the district a good solid 2 months to even reply back. They actually named the person who would be the replacement, to which we responded back, great, we would love to set up a meeting with this person ASAP so that we could determine if they are a good fit and a good match and qualified to be with Maddux 7 to 8 hours a day, and that this person will keep him safe and do all of the medical stuff that is required for a medically complex kid like Maddux.
Just do the job.
As well as the academic piece, because this was not just an LVM position.
Yeah. One, the person needs to know what the job is, because we're not confident that was communicated when there was...
You think HR really said that they that this was a one-to-one LVN paraprofessional role?
No, because there was just one position left. This person had the most seniority. There wasn't an audition. They just happened to get it because they outranked everyone in seniority.
I think we need to go on the record and clarify that there was one-to-one LVN paraprofessional position in the entire school district.
Yep.
And that happened to be Maddux's placement.
Yeah.
So they're now offering somebody brand new that we've never heard of, that we've never met before, that we only know is an LVN.
And somebody who definitely passed up on the job when it was offered the first time.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, I know where you're going with it.
And also didn't make themselves available when we needed coverage for multiple months when his one-on-one was out.
Multiple years.
I'm saying across multiple years, but there were multiple month stretches where we needed coverage.
Yes.
And this person didn't avail themselves to him then either.
I know literally nothing about this person, and I'm supposed to trust that my kid is going to be safe with this person?
Yeah.
This is where the district fails people like you and I, families like us, our kids.
Yep. And that's the thing, is when we hear through the grapevine recently that they're mad at us because we were out there shitting on their employees. We just want to meet this person. We just want to have a conversation, explain the complexities of the job, look them in the eye and say, you have to be our son's person academically, physically, emotionally, paramedically, medically for an entire school day, every single day. Are you confident and comfortable with that?
And listen, we have been on this journey for going on 12 years now.
Yep.
If you can't look me in the eye and tell me that you are in this job 100% with good intentions, then I'm never going to trust you again.
We have experience. We've hired caregivers at home. We've helped the school district hire people for him before. Mm-hmm. Like, we know what to say. I keep comparing us to a CEO of a company. Like, we know what our company needs. We know the culture.
Yep.
We know the skill set. We need to be involved in this process. This process cannot happen in a bubble that we're not involved in.
But then going back to the fat ego in HR, they're like, absolutely not. You don't work for this school district. You have no say.
Oh, we train all of our people. Why don't you trust the training of our people? Like,
because I've experienced the training of your people.
You failed us multiple times before.
You had one person with the title LVN that fit the bill for my son, and it worked out perfectly for 5 years.
Yeah,
and now you're going to strip that person and offer us somebody who's a big question mark, and we don't have to accept that. We have options now as parents. We have options as families. The school district is not our only option, and we've proven that, and that is why we chose to move forward with homeschool, because we don't trust the district will keep our kids safe.
It's a great feeling to have the option to do that. I know not everyone listening is going to be like, oh, I could just take my kid out of public school. That's a blessing that we have available to us, and we have a lot of support. It's not going to be an easy path for us to navigate this, especially in the first year.
Was it our first choice? No.
Right. It wasn't our first choice. Like, we want to go on the record again and say we explored all options to keep Maddux in school at the district we live in.
And his home district.
And at other local districts. We vet everything, though. We trust our own instincts at this point.
We have to. We've learned after 12 years that we cannot move forward if either one of us have a gut feeling one way or another.
Yeah.
We have to be on the same page about this. If we decide to put Maddux back into public school, then I would hope that we would be met with collaboration and the invitation to sit down and explain what it takes to help a kid like Maddux thrive.
Yeah, sadly, the last time we felt that from this district was when he fell down the stairs and we had to
when his one-to-one failed him.
Yeah.
The one-to-one that this district's HR prides themselves on.
With all that training and all that background and knowledge.
We hire qualified people for this role. Yet you let my kid roll down a flight of concrete stairs and bust his nose open and his skull open.
But that was the last time that we got real collaboration, real solutions mindset, and we were able to navigate that and get him back enrolled in the same school district.
To be fair, it did take us to follow up again with a nastygram stating our son is in the ER as we type this email to you.
Oh, it took a couple.
And not one of you have reached out to us with an explanation.
Yeah. So all this is to say, we're excited for homeschool. We've already started onboarding and we get to pick curriculum soon and we're ramping up for that. And we know it's going to be a lot of work. We know it's going to be really hard, especially in the first couple months, maybe the first year even.
The energy has been spectacular with this homeschool charter.
I told you the other day, the amount of people that are trying to collaborate with us, the amount of energy that they have towards their business model, which is like totally different than the traditional school model, is refreshing. It's like,
it is.
These people feel like they're a part of something that's growing. They're a part of something that's special. They're a part of providing a service that the world needs at this point.
And my guess is there has been an influx of new enrollment.
Needles going up for sure.
And they're still coming with this positive, high vibe energy.
Of course, if you're a part of something that's growing and not shrinking and dying like our public school system is, of course you'd be excited to be a part of that. That's a growing corporation. You have more opportunity. There's better jobs. There's raises, there's potential for career growth.
Over the last 6 months or so, when it was very clear that this school board and district leadership were not going to budge and we're not going to make any concessions for a kid like Maddux, that's when we decided, you know what, we have options now. And we don't have to stay put in a situation any longer that we don't feel in our gut that our kid is going to be safe.
This has been such a reoccurring theme in our life. Every time we get in a situation where we're like, we need to trust our instincts. We don't feel like this service provider or this doctor or this school district is serving Maddux. We have to trust our instincts and we have to start looking for other solutions.
Yep.
And that's bit us before. We've looked for other solutions before and then had to go back and been like, we were wrong. We chose something that was worse than this. And now we have to come back with our tail between the legs. But we were trying to do the right thing. And I think they respected that. I think they were like, yeah, we know that we're not the optimal service for Maddux at this point.
They will never admit that first.
No, I'm not saying they'll admit it. I'm saying they, deep in their heart, they welcome him back and they welcome us back.
Well, they have to. There's county or state funded programs.
So you know what I'm talking about.
They cannot turn us away. Even now, we fired Maddux's medical therapy unit. Maddux has had stellar therapists in the past. There are so many options close by to us, and for one reason or another, usually it's insurance, he couldn't go back. Or then COVID hit, the pandemic hit, and you couldn't find therapists anymore. And so that has railroaded us so many times. So we had to fall back on the NTU.
Yep. It's been everything. It's been insurance. It's been availability. Sometimes there's just not any occupational therapists in the whole area for some reason. COVID was like, okay, so we're doing PT at home. So basically like we're becoming the therapists, which is prohibitive to other schedules. I think at that point we were both working. So it was like, how the heck are we going to be physical therapists twice a week and do our jobs and everything else? So we've been all up and down with the therapies that he receives, but at some point, it's another one of those things. This isn't working. We have to seek a better option. If we can find that better option, we're out of here.
And by it's not working, he is not getting the quality of therapy that he deserves.
There's certain employees that are not innovative, that are not trying to really do anything outside the box, and that's not acceptable. We have a almost 12-year-old that has skill sets that still need tons of improvement. We can't risk
that still need improvement.
Yeah, we can't risk another 2 years of inferior therapy. We have to have the best. For him to get back on track or close to back on track, we have to have the absolute best.
Yeah, and the beauty of that is that we live in an area here in Southern California where we have options.
Yeah, and I think that it's really important to note that it is exhausting. We have built a tolerance. We have plenty of scar tissue of, is this worth the fight? Is trying to rip him out of the therapy that he's approved for and that insurance is paying for and put him somewhere else that may be better. Sometimes not always better, but is that fight worth it? Is trying to get that approval through after, what did this last one take? 15 phone calls? 20 maybe?
Easily.
And how many emails and how many, oh, you need to fax this, and oh, we don't have a fax, so-and-so got the wrong number.
And how many no's? How many, that's not, we don't do that, it can't work like this.
How are we still in a world where the only way to send something to somebody is a fax? That is just blows my mind. Every time they're like, can you fax it? I'm like, no, dude, it's 2026. I don't have access to a fax. I'm surprised you still even have a fax in your office.
Yeah, it's wild to me.
How many times have you been like, I just don't have the energy to talk to this person
it's like
here?
9 times out of 10 now. I just can't. I can put it off.
And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
Because he's the gentler one.
Get more flies with honey.
Yeah, and I'm just like, if I pick up this phone right now, it is not going to end positively.
Yeah, and then they call me and they're like coming with some half-cocked explanation, and I'm like,
and then they try to blame me. They try to pit us against each other.
Well, no, I'm like, why did you even call me? You don't even have a solution. Once again, don't call me unless you have a solution.
Yeah.
Don't just call to check in because you knew that we were chasing something that we still don't have.
Yeah. We've gotten to a point where we put our phone on speaker. We spend a lot of time with each other.
I was just saying, first we should say you need a witness. Like, you just need somebody in the same room as you, if possible, to be like, this is what I heard. And this is why we attend a lot of medical appointments together, too. This is what I heard. This is my interpretation of it. Here's a question that I might have about that statement. Mm-hmm. And also, here's how now we need to strategize about how we're going to move forward, or who's going to take this on. Is it my skill set that's has the highest aptitude for this, or is it yours?
We've gotten so good at tag teaming these scenarios that it just comes so naturally now. And if we put that phone on speaker and the other person on the other end isn't coming correct, then one of us is jumping in to say, actually, at 11:53 a.m., back on August 2nd, I spoke with so-and-so, and this is what I said. So you might want to check your record.
Not get anything past us.
We're not the people.
No.
Don't come at me and ask me if I have my ducks in a row. I've cross-checked, triple cross-checked. I have files. I have invoices. I have my own system that works, and I'm not the one.
It'll be a cold day in Miami when you don't have your records right. If there's one takeaway from this episode, the theme of this episode to me is, as parents, any kind of parent, special needs, not special needs, I don't care if you're an employee, it doesn't even need to apply to parenting. You do not have to settle. We have options in this world. You need to explore those options, and you need to choose what's best for either you, your family, or your kid.
One clear example that comes to mind is we had the best pediatrician in the world, amazing advocate. She provided wonderful care and service to Maddux and our family. And actually, that pediatrician has become a dear friend of ours.
Yeah.
I miss her to this day. She was the best.
Once again, the system caused us to lose her.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to leave there. No. She didn't even want to leave her practice. It's just the system.
The system's broken.
Yep.
This will be like we're a broken record on that.
Yep.
So anyway, we had to find a new pediatrician, and we landed on a recommendation, and we went with them. And from the start, there were red flags everywhere. I will say that they were a very thorough pediatrician. We were there far longer than any other appointment that we've had in the last decade.
I truly believed that they were a good pediatrician. It wasn't the quality of the doctor.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. But if you are raising a medically complex kid like we are, then you understand the importance of the office staff and how attentive they are to an incoming request or paperwork or anything. We've been told in other cases that Maddux has been flagged in their system. They flag highly medical patients. And so we went in expecting that here, and we got the complete opposite.
We were told by his original pediatrician that he was like, my office is going to be Maddux's air traffic controller. Mm-hmm. He's going to have 20 specialists over his lifetime. All these things require referrals. Mm-hmm. Medicine's going to require authorizations and
equipment.
Prescription. It's not so important that I'm his pediatrician.
Yes.
My office needs to be his air traffic controller.
Yes.
And so we've been blessed to have pediatricians along the way that all understood that assignment. Like, all I have to do is traffic requests through my office. It's not necessarily so important that I do his annual checkup and do his vaccines and weigh him.
Because we know his specialists are going to be on top of it.
He's going to see 20 other specialists across the year, and therapists, and God knows what else comes up. Surgeons, potentially. His pediatrician is not maybe as important as little typical Timmy's pediatrician.
Yeah, and so the medical team, the front desk staff, the medical assistant, the RN, everybody plays a critical role in handling a case of a medically complex child. That was not our experience with this office. In fact, we got into verbal battles with the front desk, and I stepped out of character a couple of times. I'm not proud of it, but They drove me to the point of almost insanity. I had to drive down there more times than I would like to account for.
Yeah.
And we don't live close to this office. It was a 20-minute trip each way. And I, once again, had to take time out of my day just so that I could follow up on a follow-up that should have been a phone call or it should have been a portal message.
Should have been a fax is what it should have been.
It should have
It's
been
even
a
worse.
facility.
That's even worse than a
Am I saying
fax
that right?
problem. You gotta drive down there. It's not even as good as a
Facility.
fax.
Long story short, we were with that doctor's office for not even a year. It was probably just shy of a year. And I said, you know what? We're done. And I don't care if we have a lapse in coverage at this point. It's not worth it to me. I will take him to the ER before I go back to that doctor's office.
No, we need to tie a bow on this whole school district conversation because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. We were like, we are requesting that your office advocate for continuity of care.
Oh, yes.
Write us a letter that says, because of his age and because of his medical diagnoses and because of everything that he goes through.
Just asking to state the facts. We weren't asking for anything outside of that.
Yeah.
State what the situation is.
And if it's not your medical opinion, then fine. Then write whatever your medical opinion is. Right. This is the general guidelines that we need. And that office was like, nope, we're not going to do that. We can't do that. We're not going to step out on a limb and write this letter on his behalf at all.
Important to note that this was not the first time that we asked a physician to write an advocacy letter on behalf of their patient, in our case, our son. So we knew that there was precedence for this.
Yeah, others said yes.
We knew that this was not something that we were asking that was out of left field.
Yeah.
Others said yes. We've had this done in the past, which is why we went to this physician. And this physician flat out said, no, I will not write this letter.
Automatic. We need to look into other options here.
No, you're fired.
I'm just saying, immediately after that happened and that office said no, it was like, cool.
The door is shut.
We've already moved on.
The door has
It's only a matter of time before we replace you and then we could officially say goodbye because obviously we don't want to jeopardize his health by saying goodbye and then he doesn't have a pediatrician.
If an emergency happened, then we had 9 other specialists that we could have routed something through.
Yeah.
We could have gone to the emergency room and it would have been handled.
Sure.
I was willing to roll those dice just to get as far away from that pediatrician's office as possible. And as life typically does for us, within a week's time, and I am not exaggerating, within a week's time, another doctor's office that we had been waitlisted on because they were getting their ADA compliance underway.
Ironically.
Yes. And they gave us a call and they said, first of all, the first positive sign was they said, we're so sorry for the wait and for how long this has taken, but we're finally ready to accept new patients. And we would love it if you haven't found, these are the exact words, we would love it if you haven't already found a new pediatrician for Maddux.
Yep.
If you would come aboard our practice. We just started having a heart-to-heart with the lady on the other line. She said, I could tell you how wonderful this doctor is. She said, but I would really prefer you see it for yourself.
Yeah. And that's one of those situations where we're like, when we have somebody on the phone like that, we stick on the phone. We're like vetting them in this situation because we know the staff is almost more important than the doctor.
Yes.
And we're going to need to turn things around quickly. So we're asking, oh, let's pretend we have a referral for occupational therapy. Like, how long would it take for you to process that?
The role played here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're not letting you off the phone until we feel like this is a good initial solution. Then we'll take the meeting and then we'll go from there.
And listen, a great doctor knows that they're only as good as their support staff.
They're the CEO of their office.
And this was a perfect example of that situation.
Yeah. Good vibes.
Long story short, we found the place Maddux was meant to be. It has been a wonderful experience. We've been with them for several months now, and I don't see us leaving.
Yeah. Once again, you do not have to accept less than what your child deserves. That's what we're trying to say here. It might be hard. You might lose sleep over it.
Yep.
It might stress you out. You might choose not to pursue it.
Yeah.
That's okay too. We're not saying that you're less of a parent for not pursuing it.
Yeah.
But you're not stuck.
Keep fighting for better. You have options. If the second option isn't the right answer, go with the third. If the third option isn't the right answer, there will be a fourth. You keep going until you find that fit that you feel in your heart is where your child is meant to be, where you feel like your child is being seen and heard and recognized, and that's who you go with.
And trust your instincts, please. Like with this whole school district thing, we know that the homeschool is going to be a challenge. We know it's going to be vastly different than anything we've ever had to deal with.
You and I aren't teachers.
No.
We have never taught a subject in our careers ever.
But here's what I know. If we send him to middle school and something happened to him and he was physically harmed, emotionally harmed, anything went wrong, we have all the information to make the right decision. If something happens to this kid now, that's our choice.
I can't tell you how many nights I have prayed for the right path and for the right answer. Please, whatever this is, God, present it to us so that we can accept it with open arms and move in that path. And to your point, if we don't listen to this and we don't take this opportunity, then no one's to blame but us.
I always love and respect how you pray, because you're like, just give me the answer. Like, I'm not asking for the optimal solution. I'm asking for you to make clear what the path should. Just make it clear for us. And like, this is clear to us. We know, like I said, it's just too risky to do the whole just show up at first day of school. We'll figure this out. You as parents could come in and train and shadow and do all that. Like, who the hell? That's not fair for us.
Any of you listening that are special needs parents, we're preaching to the choir here. Y'all know the anxiety of the week before school or the week of school and still not knowing who your child's paraprofessional one-to-one is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's such an unnecessary anxiety that the school districts put on us families when there's a better pathway. We've presented it. Not just us, families like us have presented the solution for these districts, and they still insist on doing it this way.
Yeah, because they're fulfilling the bare minimum requirement by law of the state. Sometimes not, but for the most part, it's their goal to provide the bare minimum that the state requires to continue their accreditation and move forward and keep their jobs, because they're all job preservationists at the end of the day. And they're not doing it. They're not going to get my son in their schools at risk at this point. They're going to have to come back to the table and discuss how they're going to do that if they ever want to do that. And for now, we're good. We will figure this out. It is way less risky, and it might even have huge upside. We don't know yet. We're betting on ourselves, basically.
How many times have we received a denial from insurance on something that we were sure was a slam dunk? How many times, how many phone calls, how many hours, how many days, how many years at this point have we put into this? Seriously, if we compiled all the time that we have spent on the phone, on an email, calling a doctor's office, calling so-and-so, calling insurance, like countless hours.
Preaching to the choir again, but yeah.
And how many appeals have we had to make? And they bank on families not having the time or the energy to make the appeals.
Yeah, it's the energy.
Because they know they don't live in our shoes. They don't live a day in our shoes, but they know that we're exhausted.
Yeah.
And they know that our time is very limited. I think that's why they do it.
Well, the appeal process, depending on who you're appealing with, from filing the appeal to presenting evidence to going in front of a judge, even if it's Zoom, to living out the decision, that's like 100 hours.
Easily.
Especially if both parents are involved. Like, that could be multiple 100 hours. That's crazy for a special needs family, especially if you have other kids and other responsibilities and jobs.
Especially if you're a single parent. Can you imagine the single parents of disabled kids having to do this all on their own? You're supposed to have nurse case managers. You're supposed to have somebody that helps you out. But once again, we're dealing with people who are mostly clocking in for a check at the end of the day and done with it.
Well, it's easy to just mash the denial, just put the denial stamp on it, send the notice.
Never even reading what the case file says.
Right, especially if budgets are tight or you're not getting federal help and all these things that are happening right now. Like, of course, deny it. What do we have to lose? There's a legal process. If these people are astute, they'll figure it out and they'll appeal. And if it's proper, they'll win.
Right.
But that's not fair. Like, the biggest barrier to these programs sometimes is acceptance into the program. There's too many people on the outside looking in that deserve it.
Like, how many years did it take you and I to finally tune into why do they keep denying these things? How are other families getting by?
Yeah.
How are other families making this work? How are other families getting the services that their kids deserve?
I was going to say, we learned a lot from our first appeal because it was like, to us, it was a slam dunk. It was for share of costs, and our share of costs for Medi-Cal was like $6,000 a month.
Who has an extra $6,000 lying around?
That's what I'm sitting there saying. I'm like, $6,000 a month, that would mean my savings would be like multiple $100,000 at this point.
Right.
If I had $6,000 extra a month. So we appealed it, and then they denied it again. We had to go in front of the judge. I walk into the trial at the building with the judge, and they sit me down with a folder on the desk, and they say, you know what, Mr. Remele, we reviewed this case this morning, and we actually want to side with you.
Who's we in this case?
In the regional center,
The social worker. The people who should be having
the
their
original
back.
people who should have reviewed the case the whole entire time, who had that sitting on their desk the whole time.
The people who are paid to advocate for the best interest of our child.
We don't know that. We don't know that the directive of regional center employees is help families.
Okay, let me look it up real quick.
Their mission statement on their website says so, but we don't know what the corporate party line inside that office is, because
Right.
it's clearly not help families find programs or funding or solutions to their
or
problems.
services, because we learn about 9 times out of 10 we learn about services or programs or line items for the SDP budget through other families.
I've heard maybe once or twice that some service coordinator out there at some regional center turned a family on to something that they didn't know about. It's a rare case. But just to finish the story,
Yeah.
they say, we reviewed the case this morning, and you're totally right, and your appeal is overturned. We're not even going to involve the judge. The judge is in the building at this point. They're furious that they drove all the way from San Diego to try this case.
And we're furious because our child was in the hospital for a 4-month stint at this time.
I was so mad and happy at the same time. I was crying on both sides because I was like, thank God this $6,000 share of costs is gone. We can, like, he'll have insurance. I won't have to pay for any surgeries or anything that he's going through. He's in the hospital right now. We're expecting a huge hospital bill. The relief that washed over me when they said that, and it didn't mean anything until somebody signed the paperwork. But then the anger of, why did you make me fight for 6 months for this?
Yes, especially when I'm going through what I'm going through on a personal level with child in
My
the
kid's in the hospital. I'm here to leave his hospital bed to fight this. And now you're going to be like, oh, we looked at the file this morning. You better retro that shit all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Was like my one thing that I could get out without crying or screaming or whatever I did that day. Because I remember I called you right after, and I was like, I'm shaking right now. Like, I'm so happy, mad. At the same, like, both emotions were just converging on me at the same time.
I want to stop you right there. To that point, for listeners who've never experienced a denial, or maybe who have experienced
sure
a
they
denial
experienced a denial.
and thought that was like the end all be all, what advice do you have for them? What is their first step?
The denial is when the fight just has begun, right?
Because there's
not
language
over.
in the denial, because it's usually sent via paperwork.
Yeah.
There's language
Notice
in
of
the
action.
denial that
You've been
says,
denied the
if you would
service.
like to appeal,
Yeah.
please call this number, or whatever the case, right? So maybe walk through very briefly with our listeners what you would do, what they would do.
Yeah, well, usually there's like 2 levels of appeal. So you
Okay.
can go to a mediation type hearing, or you can go full blown, like we're going in front of a judge, or you can do both. You can do stages of it. So if you choose the mediation, you can present evidence, you can get in the room with the other party, you can try to work it out. We've chosen most of the time to just skip that, because these are the same people that have already denied this. So why do I want to get in the room, present
Right.
the same exact evidence that we feel like is already bulletproof, just to potentially waste time or get the same result?
Right.
So you have the option to just skip right to basically a third-party judge that comes in from OAH, which is Office of Administrative Hearings. They hear your case. Usually you can present
Are
evidence.
you talking about IHSS specific?
There are many things that this applies to.
Okay,
This
okay.
applies to state complaints on Department of Education. This would apply to notice of action appeals, regional center appeals. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I know there's
Yeah.
probably going to be people. I know for sure that we know people that have share of costs that are like, I don't have $4,000 a month.
Pull services. They're like, okay,
They're already exhausted from the application.
we don't want to proceed with this process anymore because I don't have this kind of money lying around,
Yeah.
and 2, I'm exhausted and I don't have the energy for this.
And that's what you have to fight, because the waiver unlocks like every other program. Like it's like a sequence, and that's what the state wants. They want you to be like, oh, I got denied, I'm
Yeah,
out.
I'm done.
Because the amount of services that we have as a state, especially in California, that you unlock by having a waiver is immense and would cost the state a ton of money to support that child, which they deserve. Especially if you, like us, you've been taxpayers your whole life. We have a special needs child now. We've paid into these programs our entire working careers. Our son deserves these programs.
Yes.
And like appealing that denial, especially on a waiver or share of cost, is like the thing that you have to have the energy for. Everything else falls into place after that. There will be many denials along the way, but you fight the hardest for that appeal. You go into court with the most evidence. You get character references. You get pediatricians to write. You get therapists to write. You bring
And
witnesses.
if they're not doing it, fire them and find somebody else. Get another opinion. Go somewhere else. And you find your tribe. You find your people because they're out there.
Yeah. And there's people that can help you with this. There's advocates. There's facilitators.
I'm glad you touched on that because I was going to say that. Please tell people that they're not alone.
Well, usually parents find the advocates, find the lawyer, we do that in our own community. There's not a great public resource or state resource for that.
But that's what I tell people where they could find these resources because certainly the social worker is not going to come offering this information.
Honestly, I'm not a huge Facebook person, but like I've had the most success and I've learned the most just joining Facebook groups. Like Maddux is in spina bifida fetal surgery group. He's in a spina bifida group. He's in a LPA or a achondroplasia group. He's in a bowel management group. Like there's all the different public programs that he's in.
There's all these different support groups. So if you aren't following a group that's tied specifically to your child's need, then find them. They're out there.
It's the only reason I still go on Facebook, to be honest. I'll post stuff and I'm not really engaging. Sorry if anyone engages with me on Facebook, but I'm going on to Facebook usually to find some life hack in a group that has a pertinent topic that I'm like, I need to know how to do this timesheet this month. Yeah, so don't stop fighting.
You could have your group.
Yeah. Don't stop fighting. Don't give up. If you need someone to lean on for support, reach out to us. I think that's one of the things I was telling you when we were prepping for this episode. I was like, our first episodes when we were storytelling, it was like my vision was like, we can help people with this information. We can make them feel seen. We can prep them for some like crazy shit that's about to happen to them.
They might be a few years behind us in this journey.
People did that for us. We read blog posts and articles that made us cry, made us laugh, made us do all these things when we were going through your pregnancy. And so we wanted to provide a little bit of that for the rest of the world. And that's why our early episodes were like mostly storytelling about Maddux's journey all the way through fetal surgery, NICU, everything. But we still are here to help people. We want to be a resource. If you're listening to this right now and anything that we just said unlocks something that you need to do or that it's a path that you need to go down or you're struggling with right now, please reach out. I'm not just saying that. I will help you. I have a whole company that I'm setting up to help families navigate systems like this, especially in California, because I've navigated them all. We've navigated them all together. We've taken turns calling people and fighting and submitting appeals and documentation, and we are equipped to help people now, and we want to help people.
We do.
So let us help.
We want to share the knowledge that we have learned along this journey with those of you who maybe you're not new to this life, but you're new to the system, or maybe you are new to this life and you're just starting this journey. You don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to go through the heartache that we went through of not knowing. There's resources out there. There's people like you and I that want to help you so that you don't have to feel defeated from the jump. Even
if you just need a cheerleader or a hype man, we'll be here for you. I can help navigate a lot of these things because I've been through them, and I've kind of had to sit down and strategize how we're going to defeat this system that we live in or navigate this barrier that we're currently in front of. And it's something that we can provide. We can share that. So don't be afraid to reach out, even if it's just for encouragement. Yes, you're doing the right thing. Keep going. I know that you just got another letter in the mail that has a negative outcome and you just want to just shred it and forget it.
You don't even want to open it.
Yeah, but it's okay. Live in that feeling for 20 minutes or an hour or drink a glass of wine on it, but turn around and get up and fight. And that's something that I think is a theme throughout our life, and it's something that we want to encourage everyone to do.
Please DM us. Our email address is in our bio on all of our platforms. Please reach out to us. We mean this.
Yep.
All right. So I think that's another episode down.
Yes.
Joseph, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful that we have the ability and the blessing of choosing homeschool. Like, we have the option to do that, because that's not something that's available to everybody. And I know it's something that, because our lives are set up the way they are, we can do, and I believe we can do it at a high level, and so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for the big wins that come from appealing those denials, maybe 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but for preserving and for coming out with a W.
And I want to say, you celebrate those fucking wins.
Yep.
Like, those wins are trophies on your mantle. I would just say our celebrations look different sometimes. All right. I think we're out of here.
See you on the next one.
Yep. See you next time.
Bye.